2018. I was born in 2006.
Do you support Trump?
Sir?
Okay, if the election were held today, Harris versus Trump, who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
And what's your birth month?
September.
Okay, why do you support Trump?
Okay, well, I don't specifically support Trump, just him. I just support the Republican Party.
But you would still vote for him?
Yes, I would vote for him as a Republican Party. Yes.
Okay. All right, and why?
But it doesn't really matter because he can't run again. So.
Well, the point we're getting you to realize is that, one, he's in control of the MAGA movement in the Republican Party right now. Everything is downstream of him, right, within the context of the Republican Party right now. Okay? So what specifically do you like about him that's preferable?
Does not him specifically, the Republican Party. He's the Republican candidate. Trump himself, there is a lot of things I do not like about him.
Okay, so what about the Republican Party gets you to overlook all of the evils of Trump?
All right, give me some evils of Trump.
Held civilly liable for abusing women, pardoned violent rioters who beat police officers, called them patriots, and sent false dates of electoral college to cast Trump votes when he didn't win to try to steal the election. Right? We can point to the fact that he called for the termination of the Constitution. We can point to the fact that he said he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He bragged about walking to the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent, where two 18-year-olds came out and said there were 4 girls as young as 15 years old in these changing rooms when Donald Trump would barge in.
All right, let me give you my main point of view on any type of politics with candidates. So I separate the person from like what they do and stuff from how they perform at their job. Like, say you have an employee working for something. If they do good at their job, it's their job. We're talking about their job, not about like the stuff they do other than that. Because I don't think he's a good person, but I think he's a better candidate than
Kamala. Okay, so you don't think that he's a good candidate, but you think he's a better candidate, but you said no reason as to why. You just keep repeating Republican, I like him better, and you don't give reasons why.
Okay, so I don't agree with all the LGBTQ. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Sorry. LGBTQ, whatever stuff. I don't like all that.
What's wrong with being gay?
I don't believe in it. I'm a Christian, and I believe there are 2 genders, woman and man, and that's it.
Okay. You say you don't believe in being gay. Do you think it exists,
I don't agree with
or
it.
you just think it's wrong?
I don't agree with it.
Why is it wrong?
I don't agree because a man is supposed to date a woman. God created Adam and Eve.
Okay, so Adam and Eve, how did their children have children?
I can't tell you that, man. I wasn't there, but okay, so
by engaging in sex with each other. So God prefers incest to being gay. So your whole basis for saying that it's wrong to be gay is by saying that God wanted incest. Instead of just spawning in thousands of humans, he spawned in 2 humans, right? And again, this is your understanding. You don't think it's just figurative. You think that's a literal story, that Adam and Eve existed.
How are 2 men supposed to reproduce? I don't understand your point here.
Yeah, how are their children going to reproduce? Well, they have to engage in sex with each other to reproduce. So inevitably, the conditions of Adam and Eve being the first 2 humans on the planet inevitably creates the conditions of incest, right? Where you have to engage in incest to produce more children. And your argument for why you think that being gay is wrong, right, is because the first 2 humans, right, were a man and a woman. That's it. Which, by the way, the first 2 humans could be a man and a woman, and Adam could have been gay still. You know that, right?
Yeah, but like also in my opinion, I think that's more like a figurative story and stuff. I don't fully know.
Okay, if it's more of a figurative story, then why'd you use it as a baseline to say that it's wrong to be gay?
Because it's a story that's supposed to tell us how to live our lives, and so the Bible's how to like live your life, man. But like also, I just.
No, it's not a story to say that it's wrong to be gay or it's wrong to have any other type of relationship.
Well, I believe it is wrong.
Let's say that again.
I believe that it is wrong.
Can you speak up, by the way? And also,
I believe that it is wrong.
Okay, but like the question is like, what is wrong about being gay?
I don't think a guy and a guy or a girl and a girl should be dating.
Okay, yes, I understand that you think that. Why?
Hey, all right. Why do you think they should?
I think there's nothing wrong with 2 guys kissing. There's nothing wrong with 2 girls kissing. There's nothing wrong with 2 women being in a relationship. There's nothing wrong with 2 men being in a relationship. What's wrong with that? What's wrong?
All right, what's not wrong with it? I can say
you're the one that's to tell me what's wrong with it.
You're saying it's not wrong, and you're not to give me a reason why you don't think it's wrong. I'm telling you that
there's nothing that you can point to that is wrong with it.
I think it's wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, someone could say they think being straight is wrong. What's your response to that? Would your response be, why do you think it's wrong? Or would it be justified for me to say, why do you think it's not wrong to be straight.
If someone told me that they don't think being straight is fine, they think being straight is wrong, then I'd be fine with it. That's their opinion. It doesn't affect me.
Yeah, but like, how do you respond, genius?
How do I respond? I say, that's your opinion. That's fine. Have your opinion.
Intellectual engagements here. Really intellectual engagements. Okay. But
are you going to
ever, would you ask why? Would you think it's reasonable to ask why they think that?
I guess so. You can ask why if you want to, but I personally
wouldn't. So I'm asking you why right now. Would you like to answer?
And I told you why.
No, you just said I don't believe in that. That's all you've said this whole time. You never explained why.
Because I don't agree with it. That's
I ask why don't you agree with it? You say because I don't agree with it. Dude, your brain cells are not functioning.
I'm a Christian. I live my life by the Bible, and the Bible specifically says a man and a man should not have relations, and man and man should not be together.
Where in the Bible?
You want me to pull up the verse right now? Hold on. It's in Leviticus. Hold on, I have to find the specific verse.
Look up Leviticus 25:44 through 46, and then read it for the class. That's the verse that people cite, right?
I don't know. I can't quote the Bible specifically.
No, just go ahead and find it real quick, and then read it out. Leviticus 25:44 through 46.
All right, here you go. Leviticus 18:22. You shall not lie with a male as a woman. It is an abomination.
Okay, wait. Leviticus 25:44 through 46. Can
Leviticus 20:13. If a man lies with a male as a woman,
Leviticus 25:44 through 46.
Hold on, let me get to it. You said what?
Can you read Leviticus 25:44 through 46? Just read it out loud for the class.
I know. Give me a second. I'm getting there. All right. As for your male and female slaves whom you may have, you may buy male and female slaves from among the nations that are around you. You may also buy from strangers who sojourn with you and their clans that are with you, who have been born in your land, and they may be property. You may bequeath them to your sons after you inherit as a possession forever. You may make slaves of them, but over your brothers, the people of Israel, you shall not rule one over another ruthlessly.
So you accept Leviticus to be moral law? So you think it's morally justified to own people as slaves for life? And pass them down to your children as inherited property for life? Because that's from Leviticus.
Wait, so what you were getting me to read, though? What was that like?
Yeah, like if you accept the book of Leviticus to be moral law, well, then you accept this to be moral law, right?
Okay, but like, how does this in any point relate to being gay?
You said it's morally wrong to be gay because Leviticus 18:22, okay? And I responded with, read Leviticus 25:44 through 46. Do you accept what Leviticus 25:44 through 46 says as moral law to be descriptive of your true beliefs on morality?
It's a lot more deeper meaning than you're saying. Think about it.
So no, you don't use Leviticus to inform your moral views?
Yes, I do. I use the entire Bible.
You do use Leviticus to inform your moral views. So Leviticus 25:44 through 46 informs your moral views to be okay with slavery?
No, that's not what that's saying.
That's exactly what it says. Can you tell me what it means?
You're misunderstanding it.
What am I misunderstanding about it?
That it's saying that it's fine to be slaves.
It quite literally explicitly said that. You just read it all. It said you can own people as slaves for life, and you can pass them down to your children as inherited property for life because they are your property.
Yes, but this is
do you accept Leviticus to be informing your moral views?
This is talking about indentured servants and stuff. Like in the actual Bible,
no.
If you read more
it's explicitly
of it,
saying that you can have you can treat Israelites as under indentured servitude, but non-Israelites, right? They can be treated under chattel slavery. That's literally what that is.
Not as slavery, as servants, which is a big difference.
That is slavery.
Servants and slavery.
Can you define slavery?
Servants and slavery is a big difference.
What is the relevant difference?
You know what an indentured servant is?
Hey, what is the relevant difference in the way you're providing? Yes, I do know what indentured servitude is. This is not indentured servitude. There's indentured servitude specifically when it comes to Israelites, but not when it comes to non-Israelites. Okay, people that are outside of the state of Israel in the context of this verse, right, would be treated as non-Israelites and would be subject to the slavery law. Like, I just want to let you know, like, this is a very clear understanding of this, okay? If you think that Leviticus informs your moral views, how do you get around that?
You're fully misunderstanding it.
How?
Because it's talking about sermons, it's not talking about just slavery.
It is explicitly talking about slavery.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is. This has been accepted to be true throughout history.
You're misunderstanding it.
No, I'm not.
You are.
No, I'm not. You've just been fed propaganda about it. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. What you have to then conclude here is that Leviticus does not inform your current moral views. Okay? And if that is your concession, then you couldn't use it and bring it up in order to inform your moral views on why you think that being gay is wrong. Does that make sense?
No, because you're misunderstanding it.
I'm not
Since
misunderstanding
all
anything.
all right, listen, we're getting nowhere here. Let's move on to a different topic because it's
Wait,
just
can you tell me the first 4 books of the New
the
Testament?
first 4 books in the New Testament are the Gospels:
Yeah, the Gospel. What is it?
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John.
Okay, I'm honestly surprised you knew that. So like,
I'm surprised I knew that.
yeah, yeah, dude. Wait, can I just want to like go over this fact real quick, okay? You say it's indentured servitude. Can you define what indentured servitude is, and then define what slavery is right after?
Indentured servitude is having a servant, you pay them, and they work for you, and then after, like, okay, so let
And
me,
then
for an
so
example,
they're not
hold
enslaved
on.
for life, right?
No, for an example,
So, but like the
whenever,
verse that you
like,
just
hey, can
cited
I
described that they were slaves for life because you
speak
passed
real
them
quick?
down to your children as inherited property for
Can I
life.
speak? I'm defining what you told me to define. So, for an example, for indentured servants, whenever like the Mayflower came over and stuff, people would get like richer people. They would, if they paid for their travels over, they would be indentured servants to them, and once they paid off their travel fee, then they would be free.
Okay, that's not
Yeah,
what this
you're
is
actually right
describing.
about that.
Yes, that's an indentured servant, and then
He's right about
and
that.
then
That was
slavery.
a very common practice of indentured servitude in the 13 colonies. Let me ask you a question. What was the first instance of chattel slavery in the 13 colonies?
I have no idea. Can you inform me?
It was, yeah, it was. It was a guy that had a couple indentured servants because he brought them over to the Americas, and then when their time had ran out, he essentially took them to court because they wanted to then leave and be free people, and he convinced the court to force them to be his servants for the rest of their lives. So the big difference between indentured servitude and chattel slavery is that under indentured servitude, it is a contract between two parties that has an expiration date. Under chattel slavery, it is not a contract between two parties, and it does not have an expiration date. When we read Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46, it says clearly that this is chattel slavery because there is no expiration dates. They are slaves for life that you could give to your children as property when you die.
Wait, are you talking to me? I thought you were talking to him.
He's talking to you, bro.
That's cool.
Did you hear anything he said?
I was watching NBA Finals.
You just ignored everything he said?
What do y'all think about Victor Wembanyama?
Why are you randomly gonna not engage with these points?
Hold on, wait.
So you just actually, you know what? We think you heard it, but you just are choosing not to engage with it because you're scared.
Who's we?
Dean,
Who is Dean?
dude, the guy that's on the stream right here.
I don't know, but like, who is he?
Yeah, you're rage bait.
I'm not rage. What is?
You
I'm not
actually are.
rage.
Yeah, you
All
are.
right.
It's fine. I don't know. I don't think that it's...
All right, if you don't want to, all right. If you
I
don't
would
want
like
to,
expectation for everybody to know who I am.
you don't
Listen,
want to use the
I'll
Bible as
quickly-
a reference. We
I'll
can
quickly
talk.
sum up
Listen.
everything that I just said since you were listening. You're arguing that Leviticus 25 is endorsing indentured servitude, not chattel slavery. You went over the prevalence of indentured servitude in the 13 colonies, people working off their transport to the Americas, the people that owned the boats, and you were right about that. I asked you if you knew what the first instance of chattel slavery was in America. You said no. I said, I'll tell you. It was one of those rich people that brought indentured servants over, contractually obligated them to serve 7 years for him. And then once those 7 years were up, he took the indentured servants to court after they wanted to be free men. And he said, court, please allow me to own them as property for life instead of servants for 7 years. And the court said, okay, they're now your servants for life. Boom, first instance of chattel slavery in the Americas. So what are the big differences between indentured servitude and chattel slavery? Well, under indentured servitude, it is a contractual obligation between two parties that has an expiration date. Under chattel slavery, it is not a contractual obligation between two parties that has an expiration date. And Leviticus 24 verses 44 through 46 are clear. It says that you may own them as slaves for life. And even so far as to the extent that when you die, you could pass them down to your children as property. So the first thing I'll say here is that it's clear about not having an expiration date on it. Therefore, they're not indentured servants. It's also clear about referring to the slaves as property. Indentured servants are not your property. Indentured servants are your partners, your servants. Slaves under chattel slavery are your property. In fact, that's why you could own them for life. So do you understand how it's clearly not the case that the verses referred to in Leviticus by Parker are describing indentured servitude, but rather definitely describing chattel slavery?
Yes. All right. So let me say something. In Leviticus, what Parker, is that right? Yeah, Parker. what you referred to. So it's emphasized that it's more of a it's like more of regulating slavery than like a moral endorsement. It was the laws and stuff were designed to limit abuses of like slavery. So like it also says
that's not even true if you look at Exodus 21, 20 through 21.
If you keep looking.
But by the way, I just want to be clear, this is explicitly endorsing slavery. Like, you're just engaging in apologia right now. This is bullshit.
A harsh master who permanently maimed a slave was required to grant them freedom. Exodus 21, 26 through 27. Kidnapping free people to sell them into slavery was a capital offense. Exodus 21, 16. These are laws regulating slavery.
That's within the context of the state of Israel. This verse, Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, explicitly tells you the distinction between how it's treated within the context of the state of Israel versus outside of the state of Israel for non-Israelites. Okay, you literally just read the verse that told you that, and then you just decided to not engage in acknowledging that.
It's for regulating slavery. It's slavery. Nope. Slavery was going to happen. It's trying to regulate it.
Yeah. Wait, when you say regulating slavery, that means continuing it, right?
No, but okay, so
slavery. You're not regulating it out of existence. You're regulating it being in existence and just tweaking little parts of it, right? So, by the way, God could have said no slavery, like he says no fornication, like he says no adultery, Parker. Like you think he says no gay sex.
Parker, he said no to slavery for the Israelites in Exodus and in Leviticus 25, verse 26. This guy looked up popular counter-arguments against Leviticus 25 when I was redescribing to him how it's slavery, not indentured servitude. And he was actually listening the first time. He just did that to buy himself more time to look at the counter-arguments. The reason why this counter-argument fails is because if it was truly the case that Donald Trump, that's crazy. That God was just trying to...
That's diabolical, dude. Wow, dude. Jesus Christ, man.
Donald Trump...
Jesus fuck, dude. What timeline are we existing in?
If it was truly the case that God was just trying to reheat the cold hearts of the Israelites, and he didn't want them to own slaves, but he knew that if he just said no slavery, it wouldn't work, so then he just tried to give them moral guidelines to guide them down the path to no slavery eventually. We know that's false, because when the Israelites were enslaved by the Egyptians in Exodus, he unleashed 12 plagues and famines and killed the fucking Egyptians. So then the Israelites could be free.
Let me talk more about that.
Hello?
Oh, sorry. Like something popped up. I thought you kicked me off. Okay. So, how you're talking about the Israelites? The Israelites, whenever they were enslaved, were beaten and brutalized. But again, like I said, this is more of making slavery where they don't get beaten, they don't get hurt.
Really? Go read Exodus 21, verses 20 through 21 for the class, please.
All right, which verses?
Exodus 21, 20 through 21.
20 through 21?
Yeah.
I just read that one.
No, you didn't. You read Leviticus
Anyone
25,
who beats their male or female
46.
slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result.
Yeah, so that's Exodus 21, verse 20.
Now read the rest.
Exodus 21, verse 21. And read it together.
Shit.
Read it.
I don't know how to read.
Oh, come on, read it.
All right, yeah, y'all both have good nights. Y'all have good nights.
Read it. Come on, read it. He left. He left.
Yeah, that one's... Dude, honestly, that's a hard one, man. All the apologetics against those specific verses fell, like, pretty hard.
Yeah, dude, that was brutal. That was really, really bad, dude. Literally, when MAGA Christians try to use the Old Testament against gay people, look, that's how it ends. That's how it ends. Absolutely diabolical. Let's get